Oi, gente! Hi, everyone! Welcome to this class. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Let me see who is here. Let me take a look. Manaru, Martin, Stacy, Tino, tudo bom? Tânia, Eleazar, Giovanni, Olivier, Janine. Tudo bom, gente? Welcome to this class. Today is the fourth class of the Brazilian Portuguese week. We are halfway through the week. Can you believe that? Time passes so fast. I hope you are enjoying the classes. I'm really happy to be here with you today. And today's topic is one of my favorites, my favorite ones to teach. Maybe not your favorite, because I know many of you struggle with pronunciation of nasal sounds in Portuguese, but I'm here to help you. I'm sure this class will be useful for you. Can you guys hear me well? See me well? Sim? Let me know in the comments. Maggie, tudo bom? Antonella, Kiss. Olá, gente! So many students were confused about where to find the classes. So I just decided to host the classes publicly on YouTube from now on. So don't worry about that. But if you want to have access to the replays and PDF materials, you have to go to my website and sign up for the class, for the week, for the event. It is completely free. Just go to my website, BrazilianPortugueseWeek.com, and sign up, okay? Muito bom, gente! So today's topic is nasal sounds. But before we jump in, so I see some people confirming that, yes, there is a delay. When I ask you a question, it takes a few seconds for me to see your comments. That's how, YouTube Live works. So before we jump in, I have some announcements. As many of you know, my classes are now open for enrollment, and the next courses start in the first week of May. So if you want to learn Portuguese with me, have classes with me every week via Zoom. So these classes that I teach on YouTube, you can only talk with me via chat, and I cannot see you. Of course, it would be really impossible to do that on YouTube. But if you join any of my courses, you will have classes with me via Zoom, which is much more interactive. I can see all your faces. You can unmute and speak with me. I love these classes that I teach via Zoom. And I'm going to show you the courses that I offer. And one very important announcement, today is the last day to get the bonus. I'm offering a very special bonus for those who sign up by today, by the end of the day. It is a pronunciation training on accent reduction. What does that mean? I'm going to help you reduce your foreign accent when speaking Brazilian Portuguese. See that I did not say to eliminate. I don't think that it is possible to eliminate an accent. I think we all have accents, and that's okay. Accents are beautiful. You should be proud of them, of your accent. But I think that if you, with a lot of training, you can make your speech more fluid and natural, and you can sound more natural and confident speaking Portuguese. And that's what I mean to teach you in this training that I'm offering as a bonus if you sign up by the end of the day. If you have already signed up, you already got the bonus, so don't worry about that, okay? So I'm going to share my screen with you. Vamos lá. So we are going to review the program of today in a minute, but first let me show you. These are the courses that I offer. If you just go to my website, speakingbrazilian.com, and click in courses, you'll see the list of courses, and to learn more about each course, just click on the name of the course. So I offer courses for all levels. If you are starting, or if you have studied Portuguese only using Duolingo or any other app, I recommend that you start with the Essential course for beginners. This is a very complete, intensive, comprehensive course that teach you all the basics, give you a solid foundation in the language. Okay? After this course lasts 12 weeks. After you finish this course, I recommend that you join the pre-intermediate workshop, which is a very good course to review the basics and also to start learning intermediate level content. The next course is the Grammar and Conversation Workshop. This course, as the name says, is very intense in grammar. So it focuses on grammar, intermediate, and advanced level grammar. It's a very good course to give you a solid foundation in Portuguese grammar. And after that, I recommend students join the Speaking Brazilian Academy, which is a membership course to offer you a place to practice Portuguese regularly. So the Academy, many students ask, oh, what is the difference? The Academy is a different program. It is not a regular course. It does not have a beginning, middle, and end. It's a membership course. And the program of the Academy is also much more flexible. There is no grammar topics. It's mostly conversation practice. So if you're looking for a place to practice conversation, to have the opportunity to speak with a Brazilian teacher and other students who also speak Portuguese, this is the place for you. Okay, I recommend the Speaking Brazilian Academy for students who have already studied all the content, the necessary content to be able to speak Portuguese. Okay, if you're not sure what course is right for you, I prepared a placement test. It's a very simple test, so don't feel scared. I know the name test sometimes makes you feel stressed, but this is a very simple test. I'm just going to ask you some questions, a self-assessment test, and based on your questions, I'm going to recommend you the best course for you. Okay, so my courses are open for enrollment until the end of the week, until Saturday, and then I'm going to close enrollments because I need to organize all the students and prepare everything for them, and the classes start in the first week of May. Okay, if you have any questions about my courses, I'll have some time to answer your questions at the end of the class. So write down your questions. You can also post your questions at any time in the chat. And Aline is in the chat. Oi, Aline, she's going to help me answer your questions, okay? So now let's take a quick review of the program of this week. Today is the 4th class. So we are going to cover nasal sounds. So yesterday we talked about open and closed sounds. If you missed yesterday's class, it was a really, really good class if you need help with this pronunciation. So I recommend you watch a replay. And today, let's talk about nasal sounds, all the nasal diphthongs, especially the sound, right? I know this is challenging for most of you. And tomorrow we are going to have an intermediate level class. I know that some of you are looking forward to having a class entirely in Portuguese, right? So tomorrow the class will be in Portuguese. I will be speaking Portuguese the entire class. And the topic is subjunctive mood, which is a very upper intermediate level content. I start teaching subjunctive mood in the pre-intermediate course in my school, but it takes a lot of time and practice for students to really learn how to use this mood in Portuguese. And tomorrow we are going to cover the 3 main tenses. I hope this class will be useful for you. The next class will be on idiomatic expressions. I'm going to bring some fun expressions for us to practice in class, and also the class will also be intermediate level. And the last class will be on study tips. I'm going to share with you some very interesting information to help you speak Portuguese, and also I'll have more time to answer questions. Combinado? Deal? Okay, what else? What other announcements do I have before we move on? So remember that as in the other classes, I prepared a material for this class, a PDF, and you can download this material from our website. Just go, if you have already sign up and you have an account, you just have to log into your account on my website. So just go to speakingbrazilian.com, click student login, and then you find the PDF for download. Okay, there is a PDF for each class, and this material will help you review the content. And if you read the content after watching the class, you'll also be able to understand and assimilate the content much better. And I'm also hosting this week a fun challenge on Instagram. It has been so much fun. If you go to my Instagram, Virginia_Langhammer, you'll find the challenges of the other students. Just look for them on highlights. There is a highlight, that tool. I don't know. I know that probably some of you don't use Instagram at all. It's totally okay. But if you do, I recommend you go take a look. It's super fun. And you can join the challenge. You can still catch up and do the old challenges, or you can just start today. And if you join the challenge, you will also have a chance to win a giveaway at the end of the week. I'm going to give away a couple of comic books to students who completed the challenge. This comic book is called Turma da Mônica. Turma da Mônica means Monica's gang. So they're children, Brazilian children, and these stories are super fun and cute, and this is a good reading exercise for you to learn and improve your Portuguese, okay? And also, talking about giveaway, we're also going to have 2 giveaways today, one halfway through the class and another one at the end of the class. So stay with us, and you have to join to participate in the chat to be able to get to win the giveaway, okay? So participate. I'm going to give you some assignments, ask you some questions, and then you can participate in the chat, and we are going to pick someone from the chat to receive this giveaway. Combinado? Deal? Okay, so many announcements. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. Vamos lá. You guys ready? Let me check the comments here to see if you have... Oi, Jacob, tudo bom? Olá, who else is here? Juan, tudo bom? Cristina, olá! Okay, guys, are you ready to speak Portuguese? Let's get started. Just before we start, one last thing. I want you to promise me that you're going to practice with me. When you talk about pronunciation, you have to practice out loud. So if you are in a place you're not comfortable speaking out loud, try to move to another place or just ignore people staring at you and try to do these exercises with me. It is very important. If you don't speak out loud, you may you hear and then you think, okay, I got it. It's easy. But then when you open your mouth to speak, the sound comes completely different because you need practice, because the phonemes that we have in one language are different from phonemes that we have in other languages, and that requires practicing. So let's do the exercises together. So whenever I say repeat after me, I recommend that you do that, okay? Open your mouth, speak out loud. I promise that will help you a lot, tá bem? Okay, so I see that you guys are committed. Excelente, vamos lá. Bora. Sharing my screen. Let's jump in. So I already told you all the announcements, so let's move on to treinamento de pronúncia, sons nasais. I'm having some coffee here. So what do I mean? Virginia, what is a nasal vowel? So you know, in Portuguese, we have 2 kinds of vowels. They are called vogais orais, like oral vowels, and vogais nasais, nasal vowels. I'm talking here about sounds, right? I'm not talking about writing. I'm talking about phonetics, about sounds. So oral vowels are those that the air passes through the mouth only. There's no air passing through your nose. And nasal vowels, to have the sound of a nasal vowel, the air goes through both mouth and nose. So that's why they're called nasal, because you have to use your nose to produce the sound. A list of the traditional vowels. We also have, as we talked yesterday, the closed and open sounds. I'm not going to cover that in this class. I'm going to focus on nasal sounds, but these vowels could also be closed or open. Some of them, especially the O and the E. But we are not talking about that today. If you want to learn more about it, watch the replay of yesterday's class. Tá bem? So these are the oral vowels that we have. 5 vowels, right? A, E, I, O, U. So the second, the E and the O, can have different pronunciations depending on the region. So if you are in the northeast, you're going to use a more open sound. If you're in the south, you're going to use a more closed sound. It doesn't matter really. Both ways are correct. Now we have many nasal vowels in Portuguese, but the way that we write them, it depends on the word. But you see, the sound of this 3 here is the same sound, but the way that you write, depending on the word, would be different. okay? Because vowels in Portuguese can be nasalized by the letters N, M, or by that graphic accent called tilde. It's a funny name, right? Tilde. So this is that little accent here, this one. It looks like a tiny snake. So this is the first nasal vowel, the in, on, and in, on. Okay, are you repeating after me? I did not ask you to repeat, but this we are going to have to see these in words, and I hope that will be easier for you. So these are the sounds of the nasal sounds that we have in Portuguese, and we are going to talk about all the details now, how to recognize vowels that are nasalized by the letters M or N, and also by the tilde, and also when you have two vowels together, so we have the diphthongs, which are usually the most difficult ones for students to pronounce. So let's see each one of these cases to help you with your pronunciation, tá bem? Let's start talking about vowels that are nasalized by the letters M or N. So many times these letters, they don't have any function in the word other than make the vowel nasal. Isn't that interesting? So usually, I'm not saying always, but most of the time, vowels are nasalized when they are followed by the letters M or N, especially if they're followed by NH. So let's see examples, and now I want you to do the exercise. You promised me you have to repeat after me, okay? So let's see. I brought examples using all the vowels, so you have the opportunity to see these nasal sounds in words, and I want you to practice and repeat with me, okay? Antes, antes, antes. Setembro, setembro, setembro. Jardim, jardim, jardim. Onde, onde, onde. Comum, comum, comum. Manhã, manhã, manhã. Desenho, desenho, desenho. Vizinho, vizinho, vizinho. Sonho, sonho, sonho. Unha, unha, unha. That's a lot of nasal sounds, right? So you see, there are, in these examples, you find examples with all the vowels, the nasal vowels that are nasalized with the letters M and N. And have you noticed that I do not pronounce the N and the M sound? They are there just to make the vowel nasal. So it's cheese. It's not N. There's no N sound. It's just the sound. Antes. And here, I don't pronounce the M. Setembro. It's just the nasal E. If you write this using the phonetic alphabet, it will be just one single letter, one single sound, right? It's one sound. In Portuguese, the E sound, it's one sound. It's just a nasal E sound. Same thing with jardim. It is not jardim. There is no M sound. Jardim, in. No M, no N sound. I know it's another paradigm. Don't be mad at me if you find this hard. It's a different way of thinking about letters and sounds. It is important for you to understand when you're talking about pronunciation, to remember to know that in phonetics, the way that you write does not exactly match the way that we pronounce. So the phonemes, the way that words are pronounced, not necessarily match all the letters that you see in the writing. So the letter M here, these two words, they have one single sound. They don't have two sounds. So the M, it is not pronounced. It is only here to make the I nasal. In, one sound. In. Okay, you just need some practice here. I promise it will get easier with practice. And I'm going to read some. I'm curious to see what to see if you can make the sounds. Do you think is it too difficult? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know what is your perception of this content. So one other information that is important for you is that sometimes, depending on the word, the nasalization, right, these nasal sounds varies a little bit depending on the accent. So in some words, you see the same word being pronounced in two different ways, sometimes with a nasal sound and sometimes without a nasal sound, especially when the letter M and N is in the next syllable, not the same syllable of the vowel. So in this case, I could say that the nasal sound would be optional. I'm putting this in quotation marks because it really depends on the accent, and both ways are correct. Let me see some examples. Let's see some examples. So the word janeiro could be janeiro, oral vowel, right? Janeiro, or janeiro. Janeiro, janeiro. Both ways are correct. Depends on the accent. Same thing here. Semana or semana. Nasal or not nasal. Both ways are used. Animal or animal. Bonito or bonito. Umedecer or umedecer. So in these words, it really depends. So you see that here I would divide the syllables like this. I know that maybe for you it would be hard to think about dividing syllables in Portuguese because it would need to. This is something that you learn at school, right? But basically, if you have to break, if you would break the word, the letter M or N would be in the next syllable. Then in this case, I would say that the nasal sound would be optional, okay? I just want you to know that because I know that could be confusing. So that's why I say that the M and the N, is the vowel is not always nasal, but it is nasal most of the time. Okay, so if you're not sure, you could make the vowel nasal if you see there's M or N right after the vowel. Most of the time, it is nasal. Tá bem? So let me know if you have questions. I'm going to take a look at the chat in a minute. But I have two questions for you. I want to know. Quais outras palavras com sons nasais você conhece? What other words with nasal sounds do you know? We are going to cover many, many other words today, but I'm curious to know if you already know some words and what maybe you could tell me what are the most difficult ones for you so I can help you with your pronunciation. And which is the second question. Quais palavras você não tem certeza de como pronunciar? So what words are you not sure how to pronounce? So let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to help you with this. And I'm going to take a look at your comments now. Drink some coffee. So Daniela is saying that it is hard. I know, Daniela. I hope this lesson will help you. Pão de queijo. So we're going to talk about the pão, the sound in a minute. I'm going to give you some tips on how to pronounce that diphthong. São Paulo, the same diphthong, Tubarão, muito bom. Pão. Sozinho, excelente. Não, são. Amendoim, guaxinim. These are fun words. Amendoim, guaxinim. So, avô is not nasal. It's just a closed O. Orelhão, João. Mãe, coração. Irmão, pão de açúcar. Muito bom. Very good examples. So, I see that the são and the não, many people thought about those words. Ontem, arranhão, excelente. Coração de novo. Grama, muito bom, Cristina. Maçã versus massa, that's a very good example. So you see the first one is nasal, the second one is not nasal. This is important to, also you see the importance of making the correct, using the correct pronunciation to differentiate between two words. Irmã, torta de camarão. Cama, muito bom. Opa, sorvete. I want ice cream, but this is not there is no nasal sound here. Sorvete. Tubarão. So hard. It is hard because of the rão. Alfândega. Alfândega. So you struggle with the NH. Yeah, the NH. If you speak Spanish, it sounds like a lot like the ñ. It sounds like the word gnocchi. Hope that helps. It's always like nha sound. Muito bom. Inglês. Muito bom. Amanhã. O tubarão não pode comer meu pão. Muito bom, obrigada. Comunicação. We have many nasal sounds here, right? Comunicação. We have at least 3 nasal sounds in this word. Então, aranha. Very good examples. I really like your comments. Do you have any questions? I'm looking really quickly here to see if there is a question. That is so interesting. So that's totally accurate. So Brazilians would call you Ginho. So it's like Genho, maybe? I don't know if I'm pronouncing this. But then in Brazil, definitely Ginho. Ginho, that would be the pronunciation. I love that. Muito bom. Oh, this is a good one. Reuniões. Oins. We have 3 vowels together. Reuniões. Expressões. Very good. You guys came up with very good words. Excelente, gente. So now we are almost halfway through the class, so I think we could go ahead and have the first giveaway of the day, right? Are you ready? I'm going to show you what you can win today, and then after that we can continue. We are going to move on to diphthongs. So you need to take a deep breath now, drink some water or coffee to prepare your brain to talk about diphthongs, okay? So these are the comic books that I'm giving today. I brought a bunch with me from Brazil to give to you. So let's move on to the first giveaway. Aline is going to choose someone from the chat. And while she does that, let's move our body to wake up our brains. Vamos lá. I have to download new songs. So I have the result of the giveaway is Dan States. Dan States, you are the winner. A round of applause for Dan. I love these sound effects. They're fun, right? So Dan, you are the winner. Send Aline an email with your mailing address so I can mail one of these to you. I hope this will help you improve your Portuguese. And I already have a question here from Philip Lippitz that Aline, sometimes I don't see the question, so she sends it to me so I can answer your questions. So Philip's asking if the pre-intermediate course would include the verb conjugation course. So they are separate courses. It does not include. Some content would be the same because we do cover some tenses in the pre-intermediate course, but the verb conjugation course covers all the tenses. They are different courses. I would say that they complement each other. I created the verb conjugation course as an extra tool for students who need an extra help with conjugation. So if that's your case, I recommend that you study both. In the pre-intermediate course, you have all that support from a teacher. You have like homework assignments and classes via Zoom. The verb conjugation course is completely pre-recorded. You study by yourself, but it's the most complete courses that I have on verb conjugation, okay? I hope that helps. If you have more questions about that, feel free to ask, tá bem? Ok, gente, vamos continuar. Are you ready to continue? Okay, let's move on. Vamos continuar. Vamos lá. If you have questions, feel free also to ask your questions. And I'll get back to the comments in a minute. Vamos lá. Então, vamos falar. Let's talk about ditongos nasais, nasal diphthongs. These are the most difficult, I think, for many students because we have two vowels and this nasal sound, it's so confusing. There are so many combinations of diphthongs. So these are the most common diphthongs. Repeat after me. I'm just going to say the diphthong and then I'm going to give you examples in words, okay? On, ein, oin, on, em, ein, uin. Okay, that is too much. Have you noticed that I pronounced on with the O and on with the M the same way? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then some of you might be wondering, Virginia, you said diphthong. I know that diphthongs are two vowels together, but what about AM and EM? It does not make any sense, right? But remember what I told you at the beginning? In this lesson, we are not talking about how the words are written. We are talking about how the words are pronounced. We are talking about phonetics. And in phonetics, these words, they are diphthongs because they are pronounced as diphthongs. So if you use an alphabet, a phonetic alphabet, they would not be written with the letter M. They would be written with a vowel, with a second vowel. So this one would be a U, but it would be like with the nasal E, something like that. And the second one would be E-I. I don't have all the symbols to use phonetic alphabet here. I usually just use the regular alphabet and I explain the pronunciation, because to use the phonetic alphabet, all of you would need to be familiar with that alphabet, and I know that many of you are not, so that's why I use the regular alphabet. But I want you to think of these two letters as two vowels. They don't sound as a vowel and a consonant. They are not pronounced. The M at the end of words in Portuguese. This is very important for you who are learning Brazilian Portuguese. The M at the end of words in Portuguese, it is not pronounced as an M. Never. It is always pronounced, it is always either used to nasalize the vowel or it is pronounced as another vowel. Let's see examples. Vamos lá. So, repeat after me. Pão, pão, pão. So, okay, here I'm going to bring the camera back to me because I want you to pay attention to my lips. Have you noticed that it is not one sound? It is two. We have two sounds. There are two vowels. You must pronounce both vowels. This is also one mistake that many students make. They say on. It is not on, it is oh. Two sounds. The nasal and the close and at the end. Remember that I mentioned yesterday that the letter O at the end of words, it is a reduced U. So it's a very weak U sound. So the diphthong O is pronounced U. Remember, two sounds. So repeat after me. U. U. Oh. 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 So in nasal diphthongs, only one sound is nasal. The second sound, it is not. Oh. Oh. So even if you speak fast, remember you have to pronounce both vowels, okay? So this is very important because usually when you speak fast, you tend to just connect and you just say on and then pon. No, it's pão. And also, if you don't pronounce the sound, it also could mean a different word. Ok? Muito bom. Então vamos continuar. Let's continue. Let's move on to the next word. So this tip of pronouncing the two vowels works for all the diphthongs, okay? A diphthong means two vowels, so I'm talking about pronunciation here, so you should pronounce both vowels, okay? Mãe, mãe, mãe. So it's I, mãe, mãe. So the same way that the letter O is reduced at the end of words, the letter E is also reduced to E. So the regular letter is E, but at the end of words is usually pronounced as E. This is called a reduction. It's a phoneme reduction, okay? Let's move on to the next one. So here we have the S to make things more complicated, but the S is easy. Just add the S at the end. Just add this sound at the end. So, lições. Lições. You have to pronounce every single letter here. Lições. So we have the OI, O-I, O-I. Lições. Lições. Okay? Falam. So here, most students would say falam. Remember what I said? The M at the end of words in Portuguese, it is not pronounced. I'm saying this really slowly because I want you to memorize this. Don't forget. There is no in Portuguese. No, it's falam. So the here, the AM is pronounced exactly like pão. It is the same sound. Don't get confused because they are written differently. The sound is the same. If you write these two words using the phonetic alphabet, they would be written the same way. The letter AO and the letters AM. Okay? Falam. Tá bem? Same thing happens here. We have the EM, but the M is not pronounced. So repeat after me. Bem. 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 So we have a diphthong. E-I. E-I. Bem. It feels like pretend there is the E here, but the E is not nasal. Something like this. But the computer does not accept this accent with the letter E. Bem. Bem. Oops, my voice is failing. Bem. 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 There's no M sound. I can see you. I cannot see you, but I can imagine. Don't pronounce the M sound. It's bem, bem, bem. Next one. Cãibra. 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 So we have also the I. Cãibra. And the last one, muito. 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 I believe this is the only word that uses this nasal diphthong. That's the only word, the word muito, which is interesting. Okay, guys, too difficult? Let me know in the comments. How are you doing? Let me know if it is too difficult. So here, a question from Dan. I noticed some third-person plural verbs conjugated with why it isn't written falão, like vão. Yeah, I cannot answer you why it's not written that way. I don't know. You know, when you ask why some things like is like that in a language, that's really no why. It's just how languages are. Maybe we should ask like the grammars who created the Portuguese language. So maybe when these words were created a long time ago, they were pronounced in a different way, but today they are pronounced like this. So, you know, languages, they change by themselves. The people start speaking in a certain way, and then that's how things are spoken. That's not a decision. It is how language works. Okay, so let's move on to, let's see more examples with the letters AM and EM. So you see more what I mean when I say that they should be pronounced as two vowels, right? There is no M sound. So the AM always sounds like O, and the EM always sounds like ain, ain, om, ain, om, ain, okay? So let's see more examples. Repeat after me. Sem, sem, sem. Comem, comem, comem. Ontem, ontem, ontem. Falam, falam, falam. Estudam, estudam, estudam. Trabalham, trabalham, trabalham. Okay? How are you guys doing? Let me see your comments. Okay. I actually have something to add to Dan's question. Let me see. I lost your question now, Dan. But usually when you use the tilde in Portuguese, that graphic accent makes the syllable stressed. So if we added the graphic accent in the word falam, for example, if I wrote like this, that would change the pronunciation of the word. I would have to pronounce as falão instead of falam. So that's what I'm going to cover now, how the difference between with the tilde and with the letter M, okay? So if the pronunciation of the words, the letters, and is exactly the same, but in a word, the tilde makes that syllable stressed. So that changes the pronunciation of the word. Not the syllable, but the word. The diphthong is always the same, okay? Om. But in a word, that would change. So falão would be a different pronunciation in the word. I hope that's clear. I'm going to give you many examples now to help you with that. Just checking if you have any questions here. So you're nasalizing the first A. Falam? Falam, falam. Yeah, I don't know. That's a first. What did I do here? That's interesting, Juan. Okay. Just checking here if you have any questions that I could answer now about this topic. So here a question from Pedro. Let me just have some white space here so you can see the question. Pedro says, pegaram is pronounced almost like pegarão, but the tone of your voice is different. Yeah, so let's talk about that now, Pedro. So the difference between pegaram and pegarão is the stress syllable. So the pronunciation is the same, but the stress is different. So what is stress? Let's talk about that. What is stress? You know that syllables, they have weak syllables. Words, they have weak syllables and they have stressed syllables. So in Portuguese, we usually have one very stressed syllable in each word. For example, the word trabalham, trabalham, have you noticed? Trabalham. What is the stressed syllable here? Is the BA. Trabalham, trabalham, trabalham. So the AM at the end is very weak because it's a weak syllable. The BA is very strong, trabalham, and the first syllable is also weak. Trabalham, trabalham. Most words in Portuguese follow this structure. Usually the stressed syllable is the second to last. But if the word has a graphic accent, that changes. Usually graphic accents in Portuguese, they have two main functions. They change the pronunciation of the vowel, like in this case, it makes the A nasal. But the graphic accents also make the syllable stressed. So this is important to understand the difference between and So if you see just these two letters, the pronunciation is the same. But if you see these two letters in a word, this one would be unstressed, would be weak. And this one would be stressed, it would be strong. So let's see examples. So this is good to see in verbs, because when you conjugate verbs, we use these two letters a lot. And depending on the way if there is the AM or the AO, the stress of the syllable would be different. So pay attention to the way that I pronounce these two words. Trabalharam, trabalharão. Can you notice the difference? Trabalharam, trabalharão. So the AM is pronounced exactly the same way as the AO. They are both pronounced the same way. But the stress of the word, the stress syllable is different. It's not the same. And that makes all the difference, okay? Trabalharam is past tense. So when you say eles trabalharam, so the stress is in the middle. The stress is olharam, trabalharam. I know that I'm talking about the past. When I say eles trabalharão, I know that I'm talking about the future. So be careful that I see students all the time, they see the AM and they are worried about pronunciation, so they end up stressing the end of the word, trabalharão, because you're worried, right? I have to get this right. And then you put the stress in the wrong syllable. And then if you say trabalharão, you're actually talking about the future. You're actually saying they will work instead of they worked. Okay, so this is the only difference between these two words is the stress, the pronunciation of the syllables. If you pronounce each syllable by itself, by themselves, the pronunciation will be exactly the same. But if you pronounce the word, they are different. Okay, it's trabalharão, trabalharão. Same, right? But then let's see the word. Trabalharam, trabalharão, trabalharam, trabalharão. Okay, can you hear? Let me know in the comments. Is this helpful? I'm going to read the next ones and then I'm going back to your comments. Okay, please let me know if this helps, if it makes sense. Eles estudaram, estudaram, estudaram. Eles estudarão, estudarão, estudarão. Eles comeram, comeram, comeram. Eles comerão, comerão, comerão. Eles assistiram, assistiram, assistiram. Eles assistirão, assistirão, assistirão. Okay? I know I'm repeating this too much. Let me see your comments. Okay, so Lila is saying it's helpful. That's good to know. Okay, looking for more comments, questions. Does the stress always occur in this way? Passado is pronounced in the middle and futuro at the end. It really depends on the person. Remember that at the beginning of this week, we talked about conjugation and the persons. We have first person, second person. So here I'm using third person plural because I like this example because the words are exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the stress, but the stress changes depending on the conjugation. For example, for the first person, in the past tense, the stress would also be at the end, but then I would not have a nasal sound. I would say, eu trabalhei, past tense, eu trabalharei. So in this case, for the first person, both words present, past and future are stressed at the end, but the future tense has one more syllable. So the difference between would be different, right? Would not be the same thing that is happening here. So it really depends. The conjugations, they change a lot. The stress of the words change a lot. There are many details that could help you with that, but basically, if words end with, if there is a graphic accent, you know that syllable is the stressed one. If words that end with certain letters are always stressed at the end, like words ending with the letter I, words ending with diphthongs, words ending with the letter L, Z, X, and R. So it's hard to memorize, but you get this with practice. So in my courses, my beginner's course, I talk a lot about that, about stressed syllables when you're conjugating verbs. It changes from present tense and past tense. The stress always changes a little bit. Muito bom, gente. So let's move on to the last topic, which is the nasal vowel We're getting close to the end of the class, so I really wanted to think about questions that you might have for me. I hope this class has been useful for you. I know it is a lot, right? Maybe if this is difficult for you, what I recommend is that after this class, you go back and watch a replay. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. You have access to replays for 2 weeks, okay, on the website. So I recommend you watch again and you repeat after me and you do all the exercises again to do this. You need time to practice and get used to all these phonemes, tá bem? So let's talk about the nasal So this vowel is the only one that is nasalized with the tilde by itself. Usually all the other vowels, they have like the diphthongs, but the letter A can be by itself with the tilde on top of it, and it is pronounced like So it's the A, you close the sound, and you have this. You have to, one thing that I forgot to mention to you, if you want to check if you are making a nasal sound, you can put your fingers here and you have to see a vibration. If you say just okay, I'm going back again to myself just so you can do this exercise with me. So let's do the and sound by itself. Just the the regular and the which is the nasal A. So if you pronounce an oral sound, which is a sound that when the air goes through your mouth only, you will not feel any vibration here on your nose. So put your fingers here and say ah. You don't feel anything here. But if you pronounce the you will feel vibrating here. You will feel vibration. So try to pronounce the The air goes through both mouth and nose, and you feel a vibration. I can feel that a lot. So that is something that you could do to check if you are doing a nasal sound. Hope that helps. Let's go back to the examples. Repeat after me and think about your questions. We're almost at the end of the class. Manhã, manhã, manhã. Fã, fã, fã. Hortelã, hortelã, hortelã. Rã, rã, rã. Avelã, avelã, avelã. Maçã, 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 lã, lã, lã. Okay, how was it? Last exercise and then we finish. So you guys know that I love tongue twisters. They're fun, and I prepared 2 tongue twisters for you to practice nasal pronunciation. Let's do this together. I'm going to say this in each one of them, and I want you to repeat after me. So the first one is aranha, aranha, rã. So here we have many details. We have the R sound, the N sound, right? The NH sound, double R, single R, so many details here. If you want to learn more about all these details of pronunciation in Brazilian Portuguese, I do offer a free course. You'll find it on my website. It's a pronunciation course. It lasts 7 days, and I talk about all these details, all the R's, the NH, everything that you need to learn. It's completely free. You find it on my website, okay? So today, let's focus on the nasal sounds. So repeat after me. Aranha, arranha, rã. Arran, arranha, aranha. Nem aranha, arranha, rã. Nem arran, arranha, aranha. How did you go? One more time. Aranha, arranha, rã. Arran, arranha, aranha. Nem aranha, arranha, rã. Nem arran, arranha, aranha. Oh, this is so funny. Okay, next one. And the next one is also the same one for the challenge that that you are going to do this afternoon on Instagram. Okay, so let's get started. Let's practice now. Repeat after me. Limão, 1000 limões, 1 milhão de limões. Limão, 1000 limões, 1 milhão de limões. Limão, 1000 limões, 1 milhão de limões. Okay, guys, I hope this was useful. This is super fun. So remember to go to my Instagram account and do the challenge if you like, if you use Instagram, if you like doing a challenge. I am going to give away a few comic books to those lucky students that are joining the challenge and by the end of the week. So I hope you do it. And it's also a very good way to practice. You know, when you record yourself and you post on social media, you are, facing your fears of speaking Portuguese. So questions, comments, if you have any questions about my courses, remember that my courses are open for enrollment. If you're enjoying having classes with me, you will love my courses because you have classes with me every week via Zoom. My premium courses also include small classes, small group classes with a Brazilian teacher. I work with an amazing team of teachers because, of course, I cannot teach all the classes. We have many classes a week, but I do have a Q&A every week with everyone, with all the students. It's super, super fun. So if you want to have more regular classes with me, I recommend you join one of my courses, okay? If you have any questions about my courses or any questions about this lesson today, basically what you need to do really is practice a lot, and I promise it will get easier with time. I love this comment. My cat is looking at me weird. Your cat is smart. It's like, what? Humans are weird, right? Trabalhar. Alguns falantes nativos pronunciam trabalhar. Yeah, sometimes the LH sounds like LI. Lia. I think maybe it varies a little bit by the with accent. But I think the most common pronunciation is lia. You have to touch your tongue in the lateral part of your teeth and also at the top of your mouth. Liar, trabalhar. Let me see. Looking for questions here. So I have a question from Nicole. Are the premium live classes, your courses, conducted exactly the same as the ones for the Brazilian Portuguese, or are they interactive with the teacher and other students? Oh, that's a great question, Nicole. So my courses are via Zoom, so they are different. They are interactive. The premium course includes classes in small groups. So it will be you and more like 5 to 8 students. I say I put up to 10 students per class, but usually there is less than that in a class. So it would be you, your teacher, and your classmates, all the same level. And you have access to pre-recorded lessons that you can study by yourself, and PDFs, and lots of material to study on the website. And then once a week, you meet your teacher to review the content, to practice. The teacher will bring some questions for you to practice in class. Every class focus a little bit on conversation. Even if you are a beginner, we'll bring like very beginner level exercises to do in class. And in addition to your class with your teacher and your classmates, you also have a Q&A with me. The Q&A is every Saturday at 2 p.m. I know that's not convenient for everyone, but if you miss the class, if you cannot attend the Q&A, you can watch a replay. I always send a replay. And the Q&A is also via Zoom. The group of the Q&A is a little bit bigger. Sometimes we have a big group, sometimes a small. It really depends on the availability of the students. And it's also via Zoom, so it's super fun. I will see all your faces. You can unmute and speak with me. So you have actually two classes a week, one with a Brazilian teacher, that is not myself, another teacher, and a small group of students, and a second class with me, which is in the Q&A format. It's just like questions and answers, tá bem? So yeah, it's different. It's much more, you have much more chances to speak and communicate and interact with me and the other students and teachers. And all the teachers that work with me, they are Brazilian, and they are very experienced, and they are trained by me, so they have like a similar style, so you don't feel that the classes are too different. I hope I answered your questions, Nicole. Muito bom, gente. Any other questions? So we are getting close to the end of the class, and we are going to have the last Q&A giveaway in a minute. Some lucky students going to get this comic book. Just double checking here if there is any question that I missed. Ok. As regras para contrações são assunto intermediário. Contrações verbais. Oh, that's interesting. You know that reductions and contractions, they are... I teach some of them at the beginner level, but I cover this content more at intermediate level, because it is at the beginner level you have so many other more important things to learn. Muito bom, gente. Just checking if you have any questions that I have not seen. So, question from Giovanni. Se eu conseguir me inscrever no seu curso de pré-intermediário, a gente pode escolher os dias ou já estão marcados? Infelizmente não tenho os mesmos dias de folga cada semana. So you should choose one schedule, and that would be the same schedule. But if you cannot attend one class, you can request to switch to another class, or you can just watch the replay. We have a fixed schedule for you. You can choose the best one. So for example, the pre-intermediate, we have I think you have 4 options, and then you can choose the best one for you, and you'll be placed in that class, the same class. But if you have to attend another class in a week, the next week, you can just email Aline and she will help you with that. We recommend that we don't do that all the time, because it really it's something that you do manually, and sometimes if the classes are full, we will not have a space for you in the other class. But if there is a space, you can always request to make up a class at another time or switch to another class. Tá bem? And there is always a replay available. So if you miss a class by any chance, you always receive a replay via email so you can watch. And the replays are available for 30 days. Tá bem? So don't worry much about that. We are going to make everything work for you. Muito bom, Giovanni. Ótima pergunta. Ok. Looking for more questions. Okay, guys, I think if you have more, I think it's hard for me to see your questions here, but let's move on to the last giveaway. And if you have more questions, you can always, questions about the courses, you can always email Aline, okay? And I'll be here again tomorrow. How amazing is that? I'll be here for more 3 days. I'm so excited. So let's move on to the giveaway. Aline will pick someone from the chat. While she does that, let's give me your last dance of the day. Okay, are you ready? I have just one more question that I see here. Carla is asking, there are other teachers or just with you? I work with a team of 4 teachers. You find their information on my website. If you go, if you click to see information about the courses, you see the teachers that work with me. They are amazing teachers. They're Brazilian, experienced, and we meet every week to talk and to do a training together. So they're very in tune with my methods, and the material is all prepared by me. So you have a lot of support from me. And this is, I'm talking about the premium courses, right? But in addition to that class with your teacher, you also have a class with me. So actually we have 2 teachers. If you join the premium course, we have 2 teachers, we have classes with me and the other teachers. Tá bem? Muito bom, gente. So let's move on to the last giveaway. So Stephanie Harmon. Yay! So you are the winner, Stephanie. Let's give Stephanie a round of applause. Parabéns, Stephanie. So you are the winner. I'm going to mail one of these to you. Please email Aline. Aline's email is school@speakingbrazilian.com and send her your mailing address so we can mail this to you. Tá bem? Muito bom, gente. It was a pleasure to be with you today. I hope you enjoyed this class. I'll be here again tomorrow. Tomorrow is intermediate level class. So if you are an intermediate level student, don't miss this class. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, I'll be speaking Portuguese in class. It would be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. So tomorrow, same time, and same place, 2 p.m. New York time. I'll see you tomorrow. Have an amazing rest of your day. Beijo. Tchau, tchau. Song.